This is really special, thank you. As I was sitting there listening to Jim, though, I was getting so emotional, I was thinking, am I even going to be able to speak when I get up there? I'll be very brief, but there are a couple of things, maybe three, that I'd like to say here, because this is a special occasion for all of my family and me, as was so articulately expressed by Dennis before. Our families make a lot of sacrifices. All of you know that. We're all in the same boat for the work that we do. And so it's really true that they've all participated in earning this award. I want to thank Jim Manley, first of all, for his generous and very kind introduction, and for his nomination, and for all the work he did, that I know he did to make this happen, and just for being such a good friend for so long, and such a great role model for all of you younger attorneys in Montana. If you've had a political career and you've been a trial lawyer, you've had highs and lows, and the first person I have always heard from with condolences after the lows and congratulations after the highs is Jim, and I know that a lot of you have had that same experience, so thanks, Jim. This award is special to us for a couple of reasons, for a number of reasons, but two of which I'd like to mention. Number one is because of the kind of work that it recognizes, and because it's been such a big part of our lives. And number two is because of the people from whom it comes. I have to tell you a story. In one of my campaigns, as the last week of the campaign rolled around, the usual negative ad came on, or the attack ad. But the nature of this attack was to tell people that in the votes that I had cast on the Supreme Court, I had sided with trial lawyers 93% of the time. And I saw it on the afternoon. I don't know what I was home for. I saw it on TV, and I was really upset. I called my campaign manager, Doug Mitchell, and I said, I don't know what kind of sample they're using, but this is misleading. I know that I sided with the trial lawyers a lot more than 93% of the time. But there's a reason, and it's not the reason that our opponents would attribute to what we do. It wasn't about personalities, it wasn't about favoritism, it's about issues. And I've been here 35 years, and I have experienced over that time that almost always the Montana Trial Lawyers, this organization, is on the right side of major issues that affect public policy in Montana. And it goes all the way back to when Carol and I came here 35 years ago. Actually, Carol came back, and I came here 35 years ago. The first association that I was a member of was the Montana Trial Lawyers Association. And it was different then. It was in its embryonic stages. It was only 10 years old. But there were these tenacious people, these visionary people, who believed that by combining their resources and combining their efforts, they could have a bigger impact in terms of leveling the playing field for ordinary people in Montana, who are normally the people without influence. And their issues were different then. They had to grapple with issues like contributory negligence, which kept legitimate cases out of court for trivial behavior by someone who had been injured. They had to deal with the impending threat of no-fault insurance. They had to deal with sovereign immunity, and they had to deal with a lack of recognition by our courts and by the legislature of the importance of protecting people who get hurt while at work. And they dealt with those issues. A lot of the problems that they dealt with were solved by the distinguished work of one of their members, Wade DeHood, as a member of the 1972 Constitutional Convention. The organization today is far different. In a lot of ways, it's a better organization. It's larger, it's more diverse, it's more transparent, it has consistently better educational programs. Thanks to Alan Mary, it's much better administered. But the purpose of the organization is still the same. It's still the leading voice in Montana for the rights of consumers, for the rights of working people, for the rights of injured working people at least, and for those who believe that the best way to protect Montana's clean and healthy environment is to give people the right to go into court and to hold those accountable who would degrade that environment. And so it's for these reasons, and because our family has lived this and benefited from this organization so much over such a long period of time, that this is a special award to all of us in our family. And I'm almost done, but I would be remiss if, after having a great year, I didn't thank and recognize some of those people who were so instrumental in making that possible. And that has to start with my former partner and friend who's not here tonight, Mike Malloy, who, when I left the court, believed in me and believed that someone who hadn't been in a courtroom in 13 years or even represented anyone could still do good work, and gave me quality cases to work on and allowed me to hit the ground running. I want to thank Robin McGuire, who's here tonight. Robin used to clerk at the Supreme Court. Robin worked for Mike and me and our firm. The last few years, Robin does all of my research, and I could not have practiced as a sole practitioner without her. And so I want to recognize and thank her for her work. I mean, sometimes I'll send an email. I'm getting ready for trial, and I'll send an email to Robin on a Friday night or a weekend, and I'll ask her a question, and I'll get an answer back in 15 minutes. It's really amazing. I want to thank Jamie Tao. Is Jamie here? For all the work that Jamie did on the Stevens and the Chef cases, and for just being a good friend and listening to me when I know that it was sometimes hard to do during those trials. I want to thank Bob Germany, who's not here either, one of the most brilliant trial lawyers I've ever met or worked with, who shared 3 years of discovery with us just so this case could be handled properly, who came up here and tried the case with me, and who taught me how to enjoy being in the courtroom again. Briefly, I want to thank our friends Rob and Margaret Ash for joining us tonight. And finally, I want to thank my family. I want to thank my sons-in-law for getting them here and taking time off work. But I especially want to thank the girls, as we call them, in chronological order: Carol, Catherine, Christina, Anna, Emma, and Vivian. Not only because of the sacrifices that I know that you've made over the years, but we all have to have a support group to do this because we experience a lot of adversity. And so I want to thank you guys for always treating me like a winner, even when I've been a loser. Thank you.